Chad Smith, February 28th, last day of the month.
Can you believe it, David Lee Scales? Can you believe that February has 28 days only this year?
Took me 44 years to fully appreciate it, but yes, I can believe it.
Amazing.
Here we are, episode number 361, a day late, a buck short, just writing a report on losing and failing. When I move, I'm failing now. Do you know the lyrics?
No. What is this song? This is a Grateful Dead tune?
Blink 182.
Oh, yeah. I should know the lyrics.
And it'll happen once again. I'll turn into a friend. You should know it. That is our heyday, man.
It is. It is. I did. Where did Blink land in your catalog of things you liked?
Not embarrassed to admit, my exposure was through surf films, surf videos, and maybe Taylor Steele, I feel, is the one who was using Blink 182. And then when I realized early on that Benji Weatherly was roommates with Tom DeLonge, I was like, oh, that's an even better connection. And then I was in high school at the time and there was girls who were getting into Blink 182 and I'm like, well, let me give you a little backside or a little inside information. I'm really into surfing and there's this one surfer, his name's Benji Weatherly. I have no actual connection to him, but I feel like we're friends and he was roommates. And this song is actually about him. And it was the song that was in American Pie, actually.
The surf band, I mean, we've talked about this before, I think, but I really wanted when I was younger, or that age, I suppose, those bands to also surf. I wanted Pennywise to be surfers. I assumed they were because they were in so many surf movies, but I just didn't know. But I knew Midnight Oil, I think. That dude surfed. And I was like, wow, okay, then I'm going to like Midnight Oil. If a dude in a band surfed, then I liked that band.
Well, they're Australian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the more likelihood if they're an Australian band that they actually surf.
Yes. Too bad Bobby Weir didn't surf. Oh, I mean, he did. That's why I like the Grateful Dead now.
He totally did. And guitarist for the Foo Fighters, Chris Shiflett.
Yeah.
Who does surf. And he was in a band called Lagwagon, a punk band called Lagwagon.
I loved Lagwagon. I didn't know that he was in Lagwagon. Lagwagon was my favorite of the candy punk era.
Me too. Me too. And so Lagwagon was used in a bunch of surf films. And when I interviewed him for Surf Splendor a while back, I don't know, years ago at album Surfboards. And that was the first question I asked him. I was like, this was one of my favorite Lagwagon songs in a surf film. Here's the lyrics. I told him the name of the song and I read him some of the lyrics to refresh his memory. I'm like, do you remember what film this was used in? And he was like, bro, it was such loose days. They didn't pay us. We definitely didn't pay them. The only way the only kind of benefit that we saw was when we would go to a surf community, maybe Santa Barbara or something, all the surfers would come out to watch us play because they had heard our song in that surf film. But to think that they licensed that music and paid us for it is hilarious.
That's a nice exchange, I gotta say.
Totally
that's a real trade and barter kind of situation there. Real idyllic, pastoral.
Totally agree. Better days, definitely.
Better days.
And the idea that you and I are paying Bob James for our theme music that we play every time here is laughable.
Yep.
Eventually Spotify's going to catch it and eliminate our entire archive of shows. We'll be we're only available on Patreon.
Sorry, everybody, but come on over to Patreon while there's time.
Come on over. By the way, so a day late, a buck short. I was saying a day late because it's Saturday, February 28th. We were supposed to record on the 27th. It was a travel week for me, so I apologize for keeping this from you all for 24 hours. And because it's a Saturday, I just attended a baby shower. So barrel or nah, dudes showing up to baby showers.
Oh, I'm going to say it's barrel to do it, but it sure don't feel barrel when you're doing it. It is a good look to be the guy
Go ahead.
who's not too shy to go to, or not too comfortable enough in his masculinity to go to a baby shower, right? But at the baby shower, the lame things happen at the baby shower.
There's no reason for me to be there.
No, there's not. I mean,
the baby mama doesn't want me there. Why the baby daddy don't want me there? Because
why did baby daddy allow this to happen? Okay, I'm
baby daddy has a say in any of this?
Yeah, but why did baby mama say, we're going to do a mixed thing. We're going to do a mixed get together.
So I think baby grandmama is the one. It was at baby grandmama's house, and baby grandmama was doing the invites and everything and said it's co-ed. And she's good friends with my wife. And so my wife is like, hey, it's co-ed. Are you coming? Do you want to come? And I was like, I thought about it long and hard. And I thought, I think what's happening here is the women want to hang out. And if our toddler comes, the women are going to have to then be watching the toddler. So I honestly think it was strategic play where they think
Free day.
daddy has to play child duty at this event because the mamas are doing the silly games and the daddies don't want to do the silly games. So this was really a babysitting gig for me.
Real smart on the women's part too, because also baby daddies or dads don't want to hang out with that baby daddy. Dads don't care about that dude. They don't care anything that's going on. They don't even want to hang out with each other there because it's not like it's your friend group, right? I mean, these are dudes. So naturally, what you're going to want to do is occupy yourself taking care of your child. That's something natural to do that you don't have to hang out. So it's win-win for everybody, I guess. You have a natural inclination to hang out with the boy while they play stupid baby shower games. Man, how glad are you? How glad are you that, man, I'm going to take it back. It's a full no barrel. I don't even care. Just, no, you're dumb if you go to a baby shower. But how glad are you as a man that men don't have showers? No bridal showers, no baby showers, no nothing showers.
This is the biggest hoax since Valentine's Day.
Yeah, bigger.
It's a bigger hoax. Yeah, it's like Hallmark is responsible for that. I'm not sure who's responsible for this one, but it's like I don't think anybody wants to be there. I don't. No. The super pregnant baby mama has to get dressed up and entertain people for 4 hours. Like she doesn't want to do that.
No.
The daddy doesn't want to do that. I'm down to even give the gifts. I'm down to get the diapers and the gifts. We will send them to you.
The diaper gene.
Nobody wants to be there on a Saturday doing the most inane games.
I don't know why do both brides to be and mothers to be, why is it the idea that you're going to play idiot games? That's what you're going to get together and do. That's how you're going to usher them in to the next phase of their life. The marriage phase or the motherhood phase is by playing R-word games.
This is a warning about groupthink to everybody because nobody actually wanted to do it, but somebody did it and set a standard of kind of performance for this is how you can do it, even though nobody checked in with one another and said, I don't enjoy it. But there is this kind of sociological experiment of groupthink where you did it and now if you're hosting a baby party in 2 months from, or a baby shower in 2 months from now, you're looking back at that one and go, wow, they did a theme. They had balloons, which by the way, is great for keepy uppy with the toddler, if you do bring the toddler. And so I have to execute on all these levels. We have to have colors, we have to have games, we have to have food catered, you have to one up. But nobody actually checking in and looking back and saying, none of us wanted to do this.
That was dumb. That was a waste of a day. It was a waste of a perfectly good Saturday is what it was.
So again, you're right. The women are smart. They were strategic to get the husbands to try to come to do this. But when I realized that strategy, you know what I did to subvert it?
What?
Scheduled a podcast.
Oh, yeah. Boom. Screw you. Shower. So is she at the shower right now?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Oh, man. Way to do it. Way to do it. Sorry. Got to work.
I was like, hey, I'll be there for 1 hour and 45 minutes exactly because I got to be back at the 2 hour mark. Do you want to take separate cars? She's like, no. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, if you want to leave in 1 hour and 45 minutes, come with me. Otherwise, I'm catch a ride. So now she's either going to catch a ride home or wait till the 3 hour mark when I can go back and do the pickup.
Did this baby shower feature any booze?
Prosecco.
That's a bummer.
Which it's like, it's not booze and it's the worst of all the sparkling wines. Yeah. And also there was probably 45 people, I would say, and they had one case of Prosecco. And so 40 minutes in, I see my wife on the phone with a credit card in hand, and I'm like, what are you ordering in the middle of a baby shower? You know? She goes, oh, I'm getting Prosecco. Like, I don't want Jess to have to do it. The baby grandma. I don't want Jess to have to do it. And I think we're going to run out. And I'm like, so then I see the baby granddad, eventually the homeowner. And he mentions it. He's like, dude, I bought a case. I bought 12 bottles. And I looked around. I was like, bro, 12 bottles of Prosecco. Have you hung out with the women in this group? Like, he's like, yeah, she said she only had a couple of glasses. I'm like, yeah, that's like revealing your weight or your height. Like there's a internet math that you have to do on the couple of glasses.
Yeah.
I think what she means is
I'll drink I'll drink 3/4 of a bottle is what I'll drink myself. That is
exactly.
Was there any dudes enjoying the Prosecco?
I did not check. I have no idea.
Did they have the plastic fancy flutes?
Yes, they did.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, I feel that's if Prosecco is going around, it's required to have the plastic fancy flute.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Just for the record, as somebody who, has an interest in wine for maybe 2 decades now, there's no fancy version of Prosecco.
No.
Like, I would rather not drink.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's sweet. It's like it's all downside, basically. If you want the bubbles and like the festivity of it, sparkling water is a great alternative.
Yes. I mean, I feel that Prosecco, the only good use for Prosecco is a mimosa. If you have only really crappy Tropicana orange juice.
Yes.
Like if you have crappy orange juice on hand and you're going to be making mimosas, don't use good champagne. Just throw some Prosecco in. That's
fine. I would go for cava as an alternative.
Yeah.
But I would also not want to sully good orange juice by putting Prosecco in. Man, I really hope my friends don't listen to this. Now that we just bashed their baby shower for 10 minutes. Congratulations on the impending birth of the kid.
How far out is the birth of the child?
That's a fact I should know.
No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. That's good.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, honestly, hung out with that girl a ton. Don't have any clue when the due date is.
Better.
Well, we got a kind of a big show, but in surf news this week, let's talk Olympic qualification hullabaloo.
Ooh, spicy taco.
I mean, the story here beyond the ISA adjusting their Olympic qualification process is just that the CT surfers were in complete, almost unison disagreement against the new qualification system. I have an additional take on it, but do you have a take on the initial news story of just the WSL surfers being anti-qualification system?
I mean, it just, I feel, shows the vast amount of hatred that those men and women have for ISA World Surfing Games. Like, if the World Surfing Games was somewhere fun and had a decent format that didn't include 1,000 rounds of repechage, I think there'd be no beef, right? Like, they'd be like, okay, well, we got to go surf an extra event, but we like it.
Well, the beef also is that the WSL's surfers' likelihood of qualification through the WSL tour is cut in half, basically. Half the spots are available, and the rankings are not the year-end rankings for the WSL. They're only midway through the tour. Because they're basing, the new ranking system is based on either the calendar year or the ISA year. I forget which it is. I want to say the calendar year. So it's not a full... No, it's got to be the Olympic ISA year, now that I think about it. So it's not the full season. So they're only going to get to a few events, 4 events through the WSL's CT Tour. Those points accumulate, but only 5 surfers instead of 10 surfers get entree into the Olympics. If you want to qualify otherwise, you have to go through the ISA formats.
Let's talk real quick about what's Fernando's play here. Fernando's obviously the one who pushed very, very hard for surfing to become an Olympic sport, right? He is the ambassador of Olympic surfing, I suppose, correct?
Oh, totally.
And, made it his life. What does he think is going to, does he? I don't get the play here because okay, you did it. You got surfing into the Olympics. You also have the stupidest, most boring, impossible to watch, impossible to enjoy format and style on the face of the earth for the ISA games. Do you want people to watch surfing and hate surfing? Is the point? I would love it, Fernando, and I hope that this is the point. Is you want to make surfing so unwatchable that not only do people not take up surfing, active surfers who watch the ISA World Surfing Games quit in protest. They're like, this is stupid. This sucks. I hate it.
Perfect. Yeah. Fewer surfers in the water. I like it.
I like it too.
But I'm glad that you asked because this is the exact point that I came away with was the answer to your question. And that is, yes, Fernando is the owner of, I don't know owner, I shouldn't say owner, but he is the ISA gatekeeper.
Yes.
ISA is not owned by the Olympics. ISA exists in tandem, like they are the feeder system into the Olympics, but not owned by the Olympics. So Fernando is responsible for this governing surfing body. And his play is to create an equal to, or maybe even more important and influential surfing governing body to the WSL.
Yes.
The WSL was the big business on the block, and he basically filter feedered off of them to be like, hey, we got this feeder system. He worked in tandem with the Olympics to get surfing involved into the Olympics and sucked off them as a feeder system of, you guys are supreme, so we will borrow from your athletes to create a system for those athletes to compete in the Olympics. They've run 2 iterations of that now. And now he's saying, I don't want to be beholden to you guys. I never did in the first place. I was only doing it to find parity with you. Now that we have parity, I'm diversifying away from you, and you're only going to get half of your original numbers into our event. And now for surfers to get into our event, they have to qualify through our events. So there's actually going to be more surfers allowed to be involved in the next Olympics. But guess what? They have to come through our feeder system. So I saw this as a baller move. This is a business move to be like, I'm your competitor. You didn't realize it until now, but I'm your competitor and I am diversifying your value in the Olympic platform.
The question I have about this, so do you think, because, okay, so for sure, we have LA 28 coming up, right? So World Surf League has now half the slots that they did. Following Olympics, 32 is Brisbane, Australia, which for sure, I mean, surfing's already in that one too. Of course, it'll be Gold Coast or whatever. For that Olympics, will WSL get 0 slots? Will it all be WSL or ISA World Surfing Games? First question. Second question, is it only the ISA World Surfing Games, or does the ISA do other contests as well?
They do other contests as well. So
equally as bad as the World Surfing Games?
All through the same kind of structure of the event. So there's like Pan American Games, there's Latin American, whatever. They're all different regional, and then there's the World Games on as the final event.
Fernando must literally not, I mean, his business must be purely tourism boards, all that stuff. He must not care one iota if anyone watches, because once again, it is unwatchable. Have you ever tried to watch the World Surfing Games?
Yeah, I've tried to watch, and I agree with you, but I think his structure is half of the reason why. The other half of the reason why is they run in marginal surf.
Yeah, at best, marginal surf. I mean, the fact that, how much money do you think he's getting from El Salvador?
I have no idea when it comes to the numbers.
He's got to be making money from El Salvador for that thing.
Honestly, I don't think it. Fernando's wealthy, co-owner with his brother from Reef. So Fernando made his money. I think at a certain level, it just becomes about power and influence. And there is a bigger play here. And so he's working towards the bigger play. I don't think he's worried about making money off of these Pan American Games or whatever. Although he may be making money off of it, that's not really the play. The play is power and influence. And so when you're at the level where you are dictating who's allowed to enter the Olympics, that's significant. That's significant influence. And there will be money involved at some point, or profit, I should say, available for him. So to answer your question of whether or not WSL has anybody involved at the Brisbane down the road, I think it just matters of how much he can devalue the WSL.
Yeah.
So if 4 years down the road, the WSL still has some of the best surfers in the world, then of course he wants them to have access into the Olympics. But if he can build a alternative surf, competing platform, again, governing body of surf that actually somehow in that 4 years can develop more power and influence than the WSL, then there would be no reason to allow, WWE fighters into the UFC or whatever.
The surfers, CT surfers, I thought all had a good point, right? On one hand, they were all, of course, the WSL right now is the premier league in surfing. To take spots away from that is silly, like, on one hand. On the other hand, every one of them sounded like such a whiner, such a whining little baby.
I don't think they do have a point. I think that they are so myopic and they've only gotten their bread from one source for such a long period of time that they think they need that source. What they don't realize is that competition is actually good for commerce. So having multiple governing surfing bodies is actually going to benefit them, and there'll be more ways to make a living. And as the consumer, I agree with you. I always feel like I'm from the perspective that professional surfers making a living off of surfing is the gravy train.
Yeah.
If you could do it for 1 day or 1 year or 10 years, you did better off than almost anybody else I know in life. And so you should be grateful for every opportunity you have and not poke it in the eye. So definitely don't publish that stuff publicly, but I understand why they're indoctrinated into thinking that they need to protect the WSL in their own interest of qualifying. By the way, 95% of the people who complained on Instagram, the WSL surfers, are not going to be in the top 5. They are not going to qualify through the WSL's channel. So there's no reason for them to even be voicing their concern and to be pissing off the boss. Now, as the consumer who just wants to watch entertaining surfing, I actually think this is a great opportunity for somebody like Matthias Hurdy, somebody like, freaking Noah Beshin, somebody like Shane Borland to make it into the Olympics. Like a total wild card, random free surfer can now make it into the Olympics. That's more exciting, and especially at lowers. That's more exciting for me at lowers. Seeing San Diego's Jacob Zekle get into lowers and do some judo kick air in the event would be kind of incredible.
If Jacob Zekle makes the U.S. Olympic team because of this, I'm all for it. If it's just like weird chaos, then I am 3 thumbs up on this one. It's funny about, I wonder how much, like, we're all myopic or in what we like, I suppose. I wonder across the Olympics, right? So Winter Olympics, of course, just ended. We watched biathlon, we watched curling, we watched, whatever. I wonder how much those sports are like, because Olympic surfing is clearly, not only is it not the best iteration of surfing, it's like a total bizarre sideshow, right?
I mean, if you watch the Chopu event in Tahiti last time, that was the essence of surfing. Like they got good waves. They got good waves the final day.
Yeah.
So it's like if they can pull that off, that is not a sideshow. That just
Is surfing.
Yeah, it shows. It almost doesn't matter what format they apply on top of that. That's great surfing.
Yeah, that's true.
But the Japan event sucked, of course.
The Japan event and trestles will be silly, and also, I mean, I guess the Gold Coast could be okay.
Is Brisbane going to be at the Gold Coast?
I mean, the Olympics are in Brisbane. I'm sure they're going to host their surfing at Snapper or something.
Oh, okay.
Like, why not, right? You would go for the best, nearest good wave.
Well, just to kind of verify what I was saying about 2 governing surf bodies kind of being at war in this isn't just speculation on my behalf. This is a direct quote from Ryan Crosby, the CEO of the WSL, came out with a statement after the ISA made their statement about the qualification. And he said the WSL supports its athletes and, together with the surfers' representative body, rejects this new qualification process put forth by the ISA, we believe that the surfing's success on the Olympic stage relies on the participation of the world's elite surfers, and this new system compromises that goal. We are deeply disappointed in the ISA and their complete lack of consultation throughout this process. They ignored our attempts at a reasonable partnership, concealing meetings and failing to respond to emails while simultaneously pursuing back-channel discussions regarding qualification. WSL and the athletes are asking that the qualification process be corrected to ensure that the top-ranked surfers have a place in the games consistent with Tokyo and Paris. We hope to resolve this and move forward with what's best for the sport. So the WSL was actually trying to be involved in this conversation, and the ISA said, no thanks.
Got side-doored.
Won't even reply to the emails.
I mean, good on Fernando, I guess, for shooting his shot with the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's building a business, and he's looking to be your competitor, and you didn't know that, and you were giving him a leg up until now. And then he just revealed himself as a competitor and is like, not replying to your emails anymore. Guess what?
But really what it means, though, is that, yes, the World Surf League has half the number, or it's been cut in half. But all those surfers have to go do is actually go, for once, surf in the World Surfing Games.
Which, by the way, is how Gabriel Medina qualified for the Chopu event, the Paris Olympics. He won an ISA event.
Yeah.
That's how he got in.
Yeah.
So they very well can do it. It's just a matter of, if you're competing in 10 WCT events and maybe you have to do some CS events to back it up, do you then want to go do an ISA event? That's an entirely different system.
In El Salvador, that's going to run for 10 days straight because there is 1,345 surfers on the men's side alone.
Final thought on this is it would look on the face as though Fernando is being altruistic, maybe, for surfers as a whole. Like, hey, we don't want to just operate through this elitist, WSL system where you have to get through their rankings and then do really well in their rankings and then get through this narrow gap. We're going to make this available to a broader range of people. That's how it kind of looks on the face. I think the criticism is that Fernando is operating under Fernando's best interest and treating the ISA as a business, and he's building that business. And he's using the surfers as pawns or pieces in that chess game, but it's not necessarily for the benefit of the surfers themselves. It's for the benefit of the ISA as a business.
I wonder, at the end of the day, not to beat this dead horse any longer, but at the end of the day, this makes it shaky or it certainly makes it less likely that the best surfers in the world will also be at the Olympics. You could have, exactly to your point, Jacob Seekley or some rando who won the rando ISA World Surfing Games, right? Be in, and there they go. Is it good for surfing, bad for surfing, or indifferent to surfing if the Olympics showcase is just rando surfers?
I think it's indifferent. That's number one, it's indifferent. I'd put money on it. Number two, it's good for surfing. And then third priority is it's bad for surfing.
Okay.
It's not bad for surfing at all. I think it almost doesn't matter. I became a fan of curling 2 weeks ago and could not tell you the real difference between the gold place finishers or the non-medaling finishers. They're close. They're good enough, and they're all close enough to where it was kind of like
you just enjoyed watching it for what it was. Yeah, where a person can watch Mateus Hurdy get barreled or John Florence get barreled, and same diff to them. If you're they're inside the wave.
Even better, they're not even going to be getting barreled. They're going to be doing top turns. So if you can identify the difference between Mateus Hurdy's top turn versus John Florence's, you are a very, very sophisticated viewer.
Well, and I guess too, I mean, as evidenced by this past winter, the Olympic judging is absolutely random and weird. Like women's snowboarding was the slope style. It was such a judging disaster. that it's like people off the street are judging it to begin with. So people off the street are watching it. People off the street are judging it. So I guess who cares if the best are there?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So with surfing, it's even more subjective, I would say.
Yeah, totally. I mean, at least in, women's slopestyle, you know, you have rotation account. Yeah, it was it was just awful judging. But in surfing, you don't even have rotation.
So I am among the sophisticated minutia that could tell the difference between Mateus Hurdy's top turn and John Florence's top turn, and I still don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it doesn't really matter to anybody because I said that was option A. It's like, it's the Olympics. I don't care. You know, like I don't care about competitive surfing as much as I used to. And then the Olympics version of competitive surfing, I particularly don't care about. But I do recognize that it's an economy and the number of dollars associated with winning a gold medal are significant, especially if you're somebody like you mentioned in Noble Rod on Monday, Eileen Gu, who is good looking, as intelligent as you could be, charming as all get out. There is real earning potential for her. So somebody who does work their way through the system and then gets into that podium finish can make millions of dollars in a short period of time off of this. And so for that, I think they should be grateful to Fernando. And Fernando, of course, is trying to line his pockets along the way. So again, for you and I who aren't necessarily like going to be watching the thing that intently, the main storyline here to be aware of is there's a new governing body of surfing who is going for parity with the WSL.
Which I always was curious about this years ago, right? Like kind of once surfing became an Olympic sport, where was Fernando going to stop? Because you could theoretically, why not? If you are the door to the Olympics and the Olympics matter, then all of a sudden you've got a lot of power.
And for the WSL, who is not making profit off of sponsors, and they're for the last 5 years been seeking funding from tourism boards and from governments, guess who's now competing with you? The ISA is very much competing for those exact dollars and arguably a better spend.
It's definitely an easier sell, right? Like if you say, hey, this is how you get to the Olympics. Like mom and pop Hyundai dealership owner, they're like, yep, Olympics. Like explaining the World Surf League Championship Tour since 1976 is a tough one.
I mean, you're talking about a corporation. I'm just talking about the El Salvador's budget for sponsoring surf events. And you're like, we're going to have a feeder system directly into the Olympics, or we have the WSL event. The feeder system into the Olympics seems like a better spend.
I'd be real curious what El Salvador pays for ISA World Surfing Games versus what they pay for their CT.
Get to the bottom of it.
I will.
You're the surf journalist.
Here we come.
Doppelgangers in the wild. Surf doppelgangers with celebrity. You know the theme. We've done this enough. I don't need to explain it to you.
They're out there.
They're out there. So I got a couple new ones today. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. This is Will Forte as MacGruber. It's getting very specific now. And Taylor Knox looking like he's being sued.
Let me study this. Yeah, I like it. This is a go. This is a go for me.
I mean, but it's so specific. It can't just be Will Forte and Taylor Knox. It's Taylor Knox looking like he's being sued with Will Forte as MacGruber.
Where is that Tay Knox picture from?
I have no idea. Listener sent it in.
He really does look like he's getting sued. He just got served.
I wouldn't have identified Forte and Knox, but there is a similarity now with a certain style of look.
I wonder if you're Taylor Knox and you see the similarity to MacGruber, do you go for a little MacGruber? Do you sprinkle some MacGruber into your overall aesthetic?
You should.
I would.
Yeah, it only benefits you.
I mean, I'm sprinkling in some Kid Rock with my overall aesthetic these days.
Hey, don't spoil the next one. Okay, so since we're done with that one, this came in hot and heavy. I got 4 or 5 of these.
Yep.
And I gotta say, the people were a little bit tentative. They were like, hey, I don't want to offend you or anything, but hear me out.
Yep.
Chaz Smith, Kid Rock. So
Yep.
I only put Kid Rock images up right here because you're already existing on the screen. But how do you feel about it?
I mean, it really, when it's right, it's right. I don't feel good about it at all. It should make me, and probably will make me, take a hard look at my lifestyle choices, because it was specifically also, you have pictures of Kid Rock up there. It was real specifically Kid Rock working out with RFK Jr. in the sauna. That was the real doppelganger.
I'm glad you asked.
Yep.
Boom. There you
Yeah,
go.
which is, it's like looking in a mirror. I can't even say that it's not. A doppelganger is a bummer. When I showed the wife this one, I said, yeah, it's a real bummer, but it's true. And she looked at it and then looked at me with disgust. And I knew that I had kneecapped my relationship at that point.
You got to reset somehow.
I mean,
Make her watch a Steve Buscemi movie tonight.
I know. Thankfully, I think if I shaved and cut my hair, I'd be less. It's really, my look right now is very, very much a Kid Rock right now look, which
Yeah.
it makes me. I mean, again, it should make me question every one of my life choices at this current moment, and it hasn't yet, which is unfortunate.
It is a shaved head. So shave your face, yes, but even a shaved head could get you,
Out.
could get you out of this. Because I was like, I see what people are talking about. There's a lanky body type. The shape of the face is similar. Your broken nose sets you apart. But if you grew your hair long, you would not. People would stop you on the street.
I know. I'm at this point. If you can't beat them, join them. I'm going all in. I'm going to really model after Kid Rock. I'm going to start wearing Kid Rock kind of hat stuff. Like, he's a real easy look to go for.
That
Now that I'm
hat.
there.
So it was funny when I was pulling photos for this. That black fedora style hat that we saw a moment ago. It's not a black hat that he wears constantly. It's the same exact black hat that he wears everywhere. Look at it.
I did not even notice that.
And I'm looking at photos from
hat.
5 years ago. I'm looking at photos from now. It's the same exact hat, and he has it in white too. I'm sure he has more than one, but it's literally the same hat.
Do you think if I grew my hair longer, goateed up or whatever, and bought that hat, that I would get stopped?
100%.
Okay, I'm going for it. I'm all in.
You could probably get like some work.
Yeah, good. I'm 100% all in. Funny enough, I saw just the other day, it really made me laugh. Might have been even today. Somebody got a Tom Cruise impersonator just for their own self.
I saw that too.
Yeah, and that Tom Cruise impersonator was so funny. Like, it was so engaging. Where, man, I wouldn't mind being a Kid Rock impersonator. He's got like easy mannerisms. I feel that if I put a little bit of work in, I'm no actor, but I feel if I put some work in, I could dial in a Kid Rock mannerism.
How's your collection of jean shorts and wife beaters?
Wife beater, pretty good and old. So like yellowed at this point, which I feel is a Kid Rock look. And I've got, just as it happens, have both pairs of my outer node jeans now have giant holes in them. So are ready to jort up.
Sweet.
Yep.
Cut them off. And when your wife comes in, it's like, what are you cutting off your jeans for? Be like, don't even worry about it, honey.
Man.
It's a new source of revenue coming our way.
I feel good. I feel good about it because I feel Kid Rock in his MAGA era is more valuable now because now he actually has an audience. I think when Kid Rock was Kid Rock 1.0, it was just bad. It was just bad. Now he has an audience, right? Now he can go on tour. There's people to play to. So I feel I could go into MAGA country as Bob Ritchie and really slay.
There may be an opportunity for an appearance in a David Spade film.
Yep. I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. You can definitely do, if you run some Facebook ads targeted at MAGA, like people who follow MAGA and then target the ads at that to go do like a concert on a Saturday afternoon. How are you at doing that dance that he does where he like kicks a leg up like this and
I
like puts his face between his knees?
Again, I think I could do it all. I think that
Okay.
his bar is not too high for me to reach. Like
It's not. Yeah.
I feel I got it. Like his moves are herky jerky, right? Even like the way he flips off and stuff, like with the big thumb out. I could like do some more work on my flip off. Like all the pieces, I think I could put together.
You're right there.
Yeah, I'm so close.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
You need a fireworks display. Do you have access?
Uh, no, that's gonna be tough. But
You can source it. You're right by Mexico.
yeah, yeah, I'll go. I'll get some fireworks. I got to get like shooting gun kind of footage going on though. I feel
Okay.
like I got to go to a lake. I think
Okay.
I need to spend more time on a lake.
All right. Have a suit. Let's book a trip.
That's true. It's going to take away from my beach time because Kid Rock has a distinct lake tan. His tan is not a beach tan. His tan is a lake tan.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. We're also going to have to dump out a lot of Coors Light cans and refill them with Negroni.
It's true. It's true.
But I feel like that's an easy, like we could do that. No
No
problem.
problem. I mean, that's the thing. It's a little bit of work. Every part of this journey is going to be a little bit of work, but not too much work.
Now, my question though is, are you going to be operating as an impersonator or are you just fully going to go as Kid Rock?
I think I'm just going to go as Kid Rock. Like,
Fine. Nobody
why-
knows the difference.
Why? Yeah. Why take the step of impersonator when you could just be?
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I know we were talking about this with somebody else recently. Who was it? It was a different band that I was like, yeah, we got tickets to go see. Oh, it was I know what it was. It was during Christmas time. We went and saw the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And literally in real time while we were on air, I was like, wait, I don't know if it was a real one or if it was just like an impersonation. But honestly,
It's all the same diff.
who would even know? Like,
Yeah.
even if you were the hardest core Trans-Siberian Orchestra fan and there was other members in the band and it was a knockoff, you would not know.
No, you wouldn't.
Nobody
know.
follows that closely.
No.
And with Kid Rock, same thing.
I feel the Trans-Siberian Orchestra is the professional surfing of music. Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
Sub them out.
Yeah, sub 'em out, sub 'em in. Who cares?
In
So,
fact, save yourself half the ticket price and just go see the impersonator.
man, it's a good. It really is a good good advice right there.
It is, yeah. You're welcome, listeners. And if you want to see Kid Rock or you want to hire Kid Rock, his email address is chaz@beachgrit.com.
Hit him up. Hit up Kid
Yep.
Rock at Chaz at Beach.
VAER. VAER tools to live by. VAERwatches.com/Surf Splendor for 15% off. They've just released a few new designs.
I saw on the Instagram fine new designs.
Yeah, they have the Apocalypse Now modeled after what Marlon Brando is wearing in the film. I think they even call it Apocalypse something, but looking good.
It's funny to model something off Marlon Brando's character in Apocalypse Now. Just not that I'm anti that watch or anything, but it's like doing a watch that Buffalo Bill was wearing in in Silence of the Lambs. Like, he was an evil character.
Yeah, but some things become so iconic.
It's true.
You know, like the imagery associated with it becomes so iconic that
Doesn't matter.
at this point, it doesn't matter. Speaking of Buffalo Bill, when was the last time you watched Apocalypse Now?
A while ago, but Apocalypse
Been a long
Now
time.
for years and years. I don't know if I would consider it my favorite movie now, but for years and years, Apocalypse Now, I would claim as my favorite movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just because you felt like that made you sophisticated or because you actually thought it was your favorite movie?
I think at like high school, early college, it was a combo, right? It was probably one of those I don't know about the first sophisticated movie I watched, but first sophisticated movie I liked. And then I was just like, oh man, and it's Francis Ford Coppola and the acting and it's long and the doors and like it really ticked boxes. And so I thought, this is my favorite movie. The surfing.
Again, this Apocalypse Now was before your and my time. So it was one thing that we kind of were raised with knowing about, but didn't necessarily have the affinity for because it wasn't our thing. So I had the same thoughts on it, and I felt like I need to give it a chance at some point, and I did, and I appreciated it for what it was, but I haven't watched it in a long time, and I feel like I should go back. But there's other films that fit that category as well. One of them I just watched yesterday, and it is Stripes with Bill Murray.
Yes.
You and I were having a Bill Murray conversation about his best films over on Noble Rot, and we never mentioned Caddyshack.
Yeah.
And a couple of listeners are like, "How could you not mention Caddyshack?" So I took their advice and I went back and I watched Caddyshack, and I thought, not that great.
A couple questions. Did Caddyshack make more sense to you now that you do something that we're not going to talk about?
No, it still sucked.
Caddyshack I never liked, and I'm sorry, dear listener. I know that it is a cult classic. None of the gags it just wasn't my sense of humor.
I understand why at the time it was like, you know, inventive and revolutionary, and people loved it for whatever reason. It does not hold up with time, and it definitely doesn't land with today's sensibilities. It just seems dumb.
What about there was a lot of movie. I feel the 70s, early 80s, whenever that was. 70s, right? Late 70s, early 80s, whatever.
Yeah.
Must have been a real stupid time. Picture like Cannonball Run and stuff.
Yeah.
Like those movies. Cannonball Run was kind of fun though, wasn't it?
Well, no, so I think you're right though. Like, film was so expensive to make. And so there was very serious films. They made very serious films. And then you had that era of like
VHS.
who all came up together. It was like Spielberg and George Lucas and Scorsese and Brian De Palma. There was like 5 of them that came up, and they made these Jaws and Star Wars and these incredible films that took it to the kind of the zenith. And that Caddyshack and Cannonball Run were in opposition to it. It was like, you don't have to go to the movies for 2.5 hours and like take it serious and be swept away into some other world. You can just go and laugh. You can get high and then go in there and laugh, basically, is what it was. And I think that's what people really, really appreciated and loved with those films. But for me, when I have this entire plethora of archives of films that I can access, and then I watch Caddyshack, I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
And then I watched Stripes yesterday, and I was like, I've seen this film, like the artwork for the film, the poster, I can remember vividly throughout my life.
Completely. Bill Murray.
Bill Murray's face. And I'm like, okay, it's about him like joining the military. And again, I understand the theme of like, at that time, after the draft, and like you didn't have a lot of options and you were down on your luck and you needed to make a paycheck, you could join the military, you know? But I watched it and I was just like, man, it is not good. It is so not good.
I would like somebody to call in and really in defense of either Caddyshack or Stripes or any of the late 70s, early 80s comedies, like that era of comedy, because Monty Python, right? Monty Python, I never really got either, but I understood that it was something. It just wasn't for me, right? Did you ever love Monty Python?
Now as an adult, I can appreciate it more than when I found it as a teenager.
Yeah, for sure. Like I appreciate it, even though I don't find it particularly, I'm not quoting Monty Python lines.
No, definitely.
But those late 70s, the Stripes and Cannonball Runs and Caddyshack's are, I don't even know what there is to appreciate, to be quite frank.
I think there's more of an argument to be made for satire, like Monty Python or Airplane, for example. They went all the way. That was satire, you know? But Caddyshack wasn't, and Stripes wasn't. It was just like irreverent comedy, but not that funny. You got to see some titties or something, and it was kind of like, that's enough.
Did you ever watch Uncle Buck?
Yeah, but that's also been a very long time, and so I don't know that I would defend it.
I mean, it's not. I remember going to see Uncle Buck in the theater, and thinking, "What is this?" Even when it came out, I was like, "This is not very funny."
I think we are now clearly old people.
Yeah.
Because this is my mom thinking I'm an idiot for watching Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And she still hates Will Ferrell.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so what's a banging comedy today? What is like a funny modern comedy? Is it
It's been a while, to be honest.
comedy?
Like
Oh yeah, that's what they all say, huh? That comedies don't sell anymore.
like The Hangover, I remember hitting really hard.
Yeah. Did you
But
think The
that's
Hangover
now
was
10 years on.
hilarious?
At the time, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, at the time I really got a big belly laugh out of The Hangover.
Yeah.
Real low hanging fruit.
Yeah, totally. But hilarious to
Yeah,
me.
funny.
Okay, well, let's move on. VAER tools to live by. This is VAERwatches.com, 15% off. The apocalypse now. That's how we got on this. It is called the G2 Apocalypse GMT, perfectly sized at 39 millimeters. You can get yours right now. Stripped down GMT inspired by a 70s icon. Perfect watch for film lovers. Anyways, listeners submit their queries and you and I give advice. DLS and Chaz, I've been mulling over a potential board order for months, and your recent banter regarding spouses and number of surfboards owned has me thinking my dilemma could be a relevant topic here. My wife is newer to surfing, and she has taken a keen interest in it, even surfing my quote home spot when I'm out of town, which is a little unnerving, to be honest. She's been floating between two boards her entire surf career, but rides both well. One board is, in my opinion, too small, a 5'8", and the other one too limiting, a forgiving thruster fun shape. I'm confident I know the perfect board for her ability level and the local waves. In fact, I used to own exactly that board, but that board was loaned to a friend 7 years ago and now resides in Santa Cruz, and I miss it daily. So the idea that I've been flirting with is ordering an exact replica of my old magic carpet, but this time for her. I'll put a peachy resin tint, pin lines and all. I'm certain that she will love it, the thought of it and the time put into it, choosing the right color scheme, etc., etc. But in the back of my mind, I get to surf it too. So I'll put it up to you guys. Can I order an Old Faithful with a new paint job under the guise of a gift to my wife? And to be fair, it's not even a guise. It is the perfect board for her. And obviously the board is for her, but is it wrong for me to take it out for a solo sesh every now and again? Work and work, Dr. Scholl.
Dr. Scholl. I rode the roller coaster of emotions as I was listening to this. From, of course it's great to know you can't, which brings up one other point here. Let's tackle this first. Is it okay to regularly borrow somebody's board?
Somebody? No.
Is it okay for you to regularly borrow your partner spouse's board?
I've never been in this scenario, but
Me
I
neither.
think yes. I think
I'm
a
gonna say
joint quiver could be fully barrel.
Okay. How much this is making me think a lot of thoughts that I don't think I've ever thought before.
Me too.
How personal is your surfboard to you?
I mean, I would think my initial thought is not very personal at all,
But it is.
but I don't want to lend them out to other dudes.
Yeah, okay. So
this, sorry to interrupt you, but now this jogged a thought because we had the conversation about polyamory and surfboard collecting.
yes.
Now this is falling into that theme for me, which is we've talked about the sensual curves on a surfboard, and there is something related there. And so the lending out could have to do with my monogamous kind of mindset in general, which is this is mine, not for you to touch.
It's not that you're monogamous, but so this is what it's that you want a harem, is that you want a lot of ladies, but you are not loaning. You're not polyamorous. You don't want to be in a commune where there's dudes and there's girls, and sometimes he's with her and sometimes she's with me, right? No. Uncomfortable.
The surfboard is monogamous. I'm not.
Exactly. That's what you want. And so, though, in this case now, you are bringing another. So this is like, if you're going to shape this board and you're both going to ride it, this is like inviting another partner into your relationship. So here's the question that Dr. Scholl has to answer. Would he be comfortable bringing another woman into the relationship? If the answer is yes, by all means, go and shape her that board. If the answer is no, then shape her a board that's different that you are never going to touch.
Risky business.
Risky business.
You're because you don't know the answer to the question until it's too late.
No, and you're cracking Pandora's box here.
Yes.
And also, I'm being polite, suggesting another woman comes into the relationship, Dr. Scholl. That door opened could mean another man comes into the relationship. That it's you, Dr. Scholl, George from down the street, and your wife.
So the real dilemma is going to be, you think that you're inviting this surfboard in and you get to ride it, right? That's all upside. What if your wife rides this new board and goes, holy cow, what an incredible eye-opening experience. What are twin fins like? I've heard about single fins, I've heard about mid-lengths, I've even heard about longboards. I want to try an array of different surfboards. And now your budget that was previously allocated strictly for you gets doubled because she's obsessed.
And or, here's another problem. Dr. Scholl, it's time for a surf. You go out to the garage. Where's your board?
Where's your wife?
Where's your wife? She comes in dripping wet. Oh, just had the funnest session. This thing is great. You look at it. So she's duck diving with her knee. She's not a good duck diver. There's a big knee duck dive. I mean, I'm gonna say this is opening up too much, too dangerous. I'm gonna say don't do it.
You had your eyes set on this one board for both of you. Now it's got a big pressure ding from her knee in it, put back wet. You're looking at it going, I don't even want to surf anymore.
No.
That thing's completely ruined for me.
No.
You know what? Not only do I not want to surf that board, I don't want to surf at all. I'm going to take up dirt biking.
Yep. This is dangerous. I'm glad that we really worked out, because initially I thought win-wins are so rare in life that it's nice when you can savor a win-win. This is not a win-win. This is a road to perdition.
It truly is. And look, Dr. Scholl, I hate to tell you, you already made the mistake by introducing her to surfing.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, the fact that you guys are now doing this as a joint activity, it led to an eventual path that you're going to come to this fork in the road eventually. And so I don't know how you get out of it. I have no advice for that, but definitely don't buy the joint board.
Definitely not. And I will say, I surf with the wife regularly. I would never dare even think about touching her board, nor would I hope that she would dare think about surfing my board. That's not what we do.
No, keep it to yourself.
Yeah. Don't do it, Dr. Scholl.
Yeah. Wow. Never once thought about this topic, but it is scary.
It is. I mean,
I feel vulnerable now and threatened.
Absolutely. Thankfully, though, we worked it out. So the way it goes bad is by sharing boards.
Totally agree. Have your own quiver. She has her own quiver. You both covet the quiver, and you don't touch one another's.
The board that you can share, I will say, you can have a super crappy longboard for tiny days, because who wants more than one of those? Anything decent, anything you actually want to surf, no share you share.
Nobody wants to longboard anyways. It's really a last resort.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, look, you just need the fix. Go get the fix.
Man, I really, and I hate to bring shame upon Devin Howard's name, stinking Devin Howard. But at this point in my life, I fully would rather not surf than longboard.
It's funny that you say that. I had a conversation with Scott Bass earlier this week where longboarding came up, and I was like, dude, that's like the least style of surfing I ever do. I'll go years without longboarding. And he's like, he's been longboarding a lot lately. And I remember when I have had fun doing it, It is super fun, but it's like so few and far between. I know you don't want to, but I'm like, there's been days. Have you ever tried to nose ride?
I mean, sort of like shuffling up to the nose and then purling.
Once you get locked in on a nose ride, it's crazy fun. Like
You've hung 5, you're telling me.
I've hung 5 and maybe even 10, or like maybe not
Wow.
hanging 10, but definitely on the nose.
Yeah.
Where it's like the only way you could do it, like your instinct when you're learning how to longboard is to try to do it on like a flat, you get into a mushy section and then
Yeah.
you try to run up there and do it. That doesn't work. It's a section that is like really running. Like it looks like a closeout section. It's when you're in trim basically. So you're like flying through a section and you get up there and it's the only thing I've ever felt that was like levitating.
Oh.
Where you're like floating in midair. And the endo that you're talking about is your brain is telling you you're going to endo,
Yeah.
but somehow you're not. So like every moment of it, you're thinking I need to backstep and get out of this, but you're like, but I'm not endoing yet. So I'm going to like try to ride it out, and you're just floating in midair and you're like, what the hell? And if the wave is good enough, you know, like Noosa or something, you could do it, or Malibu maybe, you could do it for an extended period of time. I've never done that. I've only been on like those short sections at a beach break or something where inevitably I probably do endo at the end of it. But for that few moments,
It's fun.
it's so fun. And you're like, you know, the waves are shin high today. I guess my other options are to be on a glider going straight, or, you know, something stupid pumping. Like this is better than those things.
I mean, that's the question I have, I suppose. Is a glider a longboard? I mean, I know it is a longboard, but is it a longboard?
No, a glider.
Is a glider?
Yeah, a glider is totally different and has, I'd say, more limited usage than a longboard.
Because oddly, mentally, I can get around a glider, right? Like I don't have one. I don't know that I've even ever surfed a glider. I mean, probably in Waikiki or I don't know. I've surfed a really long board, but the glider I understand conceptually. Longboarding, I just think no.
The glider is like the waves are 1 foot, and I
Yeah.
just want to get out there and feel the glide, and it's fun. You know, you
Wanna go
connect
fast.
and you connect sections that you never would have thought you could connect with anything else. The longboard now has like turnability, nose riding potentially, like other things that you can do on it.
Don't want to do it. I mean, I guess I want to nose right now. You really sold me on nose riding.
It's really, really fun, but yeah, you just need the right section of the wave. Okay, well, you're welcome, Dr. Scholl, and thank you, VAERwatches.com/surf splendor.
VAER watches just maybe have saved a relationship.
Absolutely, not the first time.
Yeah.
Don't say gay. Got a new submission coming in.
Wow. Good. Excited.
And I apologize for the listener. I saw this come in on DM and I didn't screenshot it. I forget who sent it, but this is not my submission, it's theirs. Skits, using the word skits, and it was a screenshot or a reference to
Gitsy.
crazy maneuver that some surfer did. And in the comments section, Noah Dean said that was skits. And of course, this is more of an Aussie slang, but we in America still know it, even if we're not using it as regularly. Comes from, most recently, schizo, which comes from schizophrenic. Really, it's meant to mean sketchy. It's like, that was so sketchy and kind of on edge. That was skits. But the reason why it's up for submission and don't say gay is the reference to a mental illness. It comes from schizophrenia. So is it okay to be making fun of, quote unquote, schizophrenia?
I don't know that it's making fun of schizophrenia. I think you're accurately and acutely calling something crazy. And I would think somebody with schizophrenia would say, yep, this thing is wild. You don't even know. You don't even know the half of it. I don't think it's a slam. I think they're like, yeah. Because it's always associated with cool crazy too, right?
Yes.
Like, especially if it's like, whoa, so it is I think elevating schizophrenia.
If you saw a homeless person having a massive freak out through some mental episode and said, that's skits, you don't actually hear it used that way.
No. Nobody.
You see a alternative sport athlete doing something crazy
That's schizo.
or doing something. You use the word crazy. Now I use the word crazy. Crazy actually makes it offensive. We should not be using crazy. They do something incredibly
Yeah.
on edge and complete it. When they
Yeah.
say it's skits.
Hard to mentally wrap your head around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's barrel, and we should use it more because once again, it elevates schizophrenia.
Makes it cool.
Makes it cool. Schizophrenia is cool.
Do you think so? The other litmus that we have to run it through is, would somebody with schizophrenia be offended by the usage?
I think somebody with schizophrenia would be proud. They would think, yeah, Noah Dean sure is.
Thank you for that, Noah Dean.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think anybody, if anyone with schizophrenia was offended, they would just be acting crazy.
Do people, maybe I'm confusing my disorders here. Do people with schizophrenia know they have schizophrenia?
Yes, I
Okay.
think they do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that yeah.
Okay. So they can actually run this calculus and
Sure.
say, okay. Well, anybody out there with schizophrenia who wants to chime in on this, I would be curious to know because I don't mind dismissing. I don't use skits. I like it. Like when I see it, I'm like, yeah, that's a accurate usage for a way to refer to what that guy did in the air.
Yeah.
But so I like it, but I don't use it personally. So I don't feel like I have much skin in this game.
I think you should up your usage, to be quite frank. I mean, we can wait to hear from our schizophrenic listeners. But until then, I think you should put it in the hopper. At least teach young Austin.
When I go back to pick up the wife from the baby shower, I'll try to use it there.
Yeah. Say, man. Yeah. It is hard to use though, because I like it. It's one of those words that you can't really overuse. It has to, if you say something is skits, that's not actually, like if some guy got barreled and you said, whoa, that is skits. People would look at you, no, it wasn't. It was just a barrel.
Yeah, that's true. Baby shower, there's not going to be an opportunity, I don't think.
Unless another case of Prosecco came.
Yeah.
Shit.
Austin's next magnetile building, I can't be like, dude, that's so scary. We gotta wait until he really does something spectacular.
Yep.
Okay.
Don't overuse.
All right, I'm gonna put it in the back pocket,
Yeah.
and I'll try to bust it out.
Yeah.
And I'll report back on that. All right, we got some barrel or Nas, but I think we should go to commercial break first. All right, Chaz, welcome back.
So good.
Look, I'm going to give you an opportunity here to say something nice or say something offensive.
Great.
Any thoughts on Kelly Slater's pregnancy announcement?
Man, he looked like he was about 6 months in. Kelly Slater did.
6 months into his own pregnancy, or what are you
Yes.
referring to?
You see how chunky he was?
No.
Oh man, you go back and study that picture. It is worth looking, really feasting your eyes on, as much as Kelly feasted on a bunch of food. He is a chunk monster.
It happens in fatherhood, dude.
I know. I mean, he is like honestly eating for two.
Every meal that kid doesn't finish, you're like, I'll have 3 bites of mac cheese.
Yep.
What the heck? Why not? You know? And then you eat it, and then you're like, well, that was over the course of a month. I ate 2 pounds of macaroni and cheese.
Yep.
And whatever other terrible food the kid eats.
How do you chase? So boy's name is Dow, of course. Dow Druku.
No, it's not. He did an interview with somebody and he said it's pronounced Tao, T, with the T.
Oh man, Kelly Slater is a gift that keeps on giving. Okay, your boy is named Tao. Now, do you keep in an Eastern religious theme for the daughter, or do you break fully away?
Dude, I would again like to claim this as my own, but this came from a listener's submission. We already know what he's going to name his daughter.
What?
Hanu.
Oh, it's so true. Hanu Slater. Wow. Man, well, there we go. Yep, I guess I got nothing more to say about that. Congratulations, Kelly. Congratulations, Kalani, the growing family.
And if he doesn't name it Hanu, real missed opportunity.
Yeah, Kelly. Turtle Moon.
Real
Hanu
missed
Moon.
opportunity.
Ooh, Hanu Moon. has a ring to it.
A little bit, yeah. I just realized I was supposed to upload some media. Let's see if I could do it real quickly. For the first barrel or not, I want to play for you a listener call. And looks like I was able to do it real quick. Okay, listener call, barrel or nah.
For the grid, barrel or not, driving with a hood on, meaning you're driving, you're wearing a sweatshirt with a hood, and you've got the hood up. I think it's a no barrel. Not only is it dangerous, you can't see, I think you just look stupid. Like, grow up, Peter Pan. You're not a kid. You're not gangster. You just look dumb. Just really dumb. That's a no barrel.
Barrel or nah, wearing the hood while driving.
I'm going to say we can broaden this one. We can say
I thought so too.
Wearing a hood, wearing your hooded sweatshirt. I'm going to say it is almost no barrel. I'm really racking my brain to try to think of a time where it's barrel. The problem with the hood, I will say, you throw it on there. Okay, say it's sprinkling, a little bit of rain. Throw your hood on. Taking away your entire peripheral vision as an exchange for keeping your head a tiny bit drier or a tiny bit warmer, but losing all of your peripheral vision is not a good exchange anytime.
So I agree. When I listen to this, I go, let's extend this out to other places. Let's extend this to public in general.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I've been inclined, like if you're on an airplane, let's say, or in an airport, I know I look like a douche, but it's a symbol to public to leave me alone.
Yes.
Like if I'm on a plane and I want to take a nap, just leave me alone is what I'm trying to symbolize to you. Now, if I ever go ahead and do it, I feel like a dick for doing it. And I feel like I'm that guy, but I want to be left alone enough to where I'm going to go through that.
The problem is there's better alternatives. My favorite go-to is hat over the eyes, right?
Yeah.
Where you don't look like Mark Zuckerberg circa The Social Network. Like, I feel the hood has gotten co-opted by tech nerds so much so that unless you're a tech nerd or want to identify as a tech nerd, don't do it. It's funny now that I think about it. The hooded sweatshirt in general, I have some, but I'm a crew neck man myself.
Me too.
If I have an option, I'd never go for the hood.
Me too. I've abandoned the hoodie and adulthood.
Yeah, okay. So here we go. It's no barrel. Hoodies, I'm going to say, are no barrel ish. I feel there's a time and a place every once in a while for a hooded sweatshirt, but it is not often.
I mean, look, if you're skiing, like if the weather absolutely mandates it, but I have a hooded puffer jacket. That's where I wear a hood, but I always do not go for the hooded sweatshirt.
I'm trying to think. Sometimes, that's when a hooded sweatshirt is nice. You're like snowboarding, not the hood up, but just having that little extra neck.
It's like a scarf.
Neck warmer. Yeah, is nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice time for a hooded sweatshirt.
And that's what I was thinking about with the airplane scenario too, is sometimes airplanes are cold and it's blowing directly on your neck. The hood protects you from that.
Great. Okay. So there's a time to wear. So I'm going to not extend the no barrel to hooded sweatshirts in general, but wearing the hood, no barrel, always.
Yeah, I got to agree, I think, with this one. And to answer the call directly of driving the car, there is no reason you should be driving your car with your hood on. For the peripheral vision that you're talking about, absolutely it makes you more liable to find yourself in a car accident, and you look like a douche to everybody else driving.
You either look like a douche or a criminal.
No reason to do it. Which, if you're a criminal, you're now drawing attention to yourself.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Absolute no barrel. Thank you, listener. Something that I've seen in the wild and then rubbed me the wrong way, but I never committed it to my memory or reason to discuss it. So I'm glad to get that out. Purge that body. Barrel or nah, sharp noses on surfboards. This season, I've been run over 3 times by out-of-control surfers, which I would like to complain about, but to be honest, it was my own board that I took to the face recently. The nose hit me in the corner of the eye where the tear duct is. I had 6 stitches and a minor fracture. Fortunately, no long-term eye damage. When I get a new shortboard, I always put duct tape on the nose to soften it just in case. I've been surfing for over 30 years and I don't remember when we stopped using nose guards or why. I spent this afternoon redoing the duct tape job on 10 boards because of my recent accident. I hadn't seen a factory point on a surfboard since I bought them. And now that I'm seeing them bare, it looks like there's a brand competition of who can make their boards the deadliest. These could easily put a hole in your skull. I understand why fins are sharp or even a swallowtail, but I can't think of any reason the nose has to be super pointy and sharp. If you're getting some sort of performance out of that last 1/8 of an inch, you must be a god. Is it purely aesthetics? Is it an easier way to glass or sand? Please let me know if there's some explanation. Thanks, KP.
KP, bringing up something interesting that I have not much considered. Yeah, is there? I mean, it's got to be performance related.
I think there's no reason for it to be pointy. And I've even heard this conversation has come up over the years. Randomly, I will hear it once, let's say every year, from a shaper just discussing something. And I've even heard shapers advocate for this exact thing, not to have pointy noses. I want to say Maurice Cole might have been one of them at some point, where he was saying, like, there's no reason for it to be pointy. And so maybe Greg Weber as well, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, let's, as shapers, we know it is dangerous. We know people have lost eyes. We know it's a problem. Let's go ahead and just round them off. But there is a stereotype there's something that exists where people just want a certain look. For whatever reason, it's embedded in the culture.
Yeah, I'm going to say pointy noses on thrusters or barrel, though. Like, I'm going to say that if you want an alternative shape, get an alternative shape. But if you want it, it's called a pointy thruster for a reason, right?
No, it's not. It's called that because it's that way. It wasn't called that so they created it. It's called that because it looks that way.
But also, what is the surfboards you drew in your notebook when you were a kid? Do you draw longboards, David Lee?
No, yeah, of course. No, but I grew up in the Kelly Slater era, where that's what he was riding. But like, he had a model with Channel Islands called the Wizard Sleeve, which was a similar outline up until that point, and then they rounded it off.
But that board, the Wizard Sleeve, always looked kind of kooky.
Yeah, and actually, now I'm remembering, they discussed this a little bit in Stab in the Dark, and Matt Biolis was saying it could just be the visuals for judging, because when you watch somebody riding the pointy thruster versus not, when they do the exact same turn, for some reason, the pointy version looks more dynamic.
That's totally true, especially on like a, 12 o'clock, straight up and down top turn.
Yeah. So it is an aesthetic thing, but not necessarily
a performance thing. But it looks better.
For some reason, we're trained to believe that it does.
It looks sharp. I mean, it looks what it is, right?
It looks sharper.
That's precisely how it looks. And if
looks
that's
more dynamic.
Yeah. So say barrel. Pointy nose or a barrel.
I'm going no barrel. And you're not performing like Kelly Slater. None of us are. And so I think you could go to your shaper, next board you order, and just say, can you just round the nose off? Forget the last 2 or 3 inches. Just round it off for me. And I will make the argument also that if that thing hits you in a consequential location like your eyeball, it's still going to do serious damage, but
it won't poke your eye out.
Slightly less, 10% less.
I'm going to say, though, is it worth the exchange of surfing worse? I'm going to say, when you go out and you look at that pointy nose on your thruster, you surf 10% better.
I don't think so. I think you surf exactly as poorly as you do, regardless whether there's a nose on the board or not. But I'll throw a question your way. Is this guy's this duct tape situation I've never even heard of in my life.
No.
So is it worth the uglying the aesthetic of the surfboard by wrapping duct tape around the nose to save you an eyeball? Potentially save you an eyeball.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say
no too.
I'm going to say it's better to go through life one-eyed than ugly boarded.
I kind of feel the same way, and I hate giving that advice to anybody else. Feel free to wrap yours in duct tape too, but I'm like, I can't imagine. This guy, I've never seen anybody else do this. I've never even heard of this. I can't imagine wrapping up the nose in duct tape. If you were guaranteed to save an eye, maybe I would do it. If I was like, okay, surfing long enough in life, you're going to lose an eye because of this pointy thruster, I'd be like, okay, take every precaution possible. But I've surfed for 30 years, never lost an eye, so I'm going to risk it.
It really is crazy that nose guard totally and completely went away. Like, it was a functional, cheap, easy, did its job, like all of it. And I've not seen a nose guard in the wild on any new board in at least 10 years.
There's problems in life, and then there's solutions. And sometimes the solutions are hard work, or they don't make sense, or they're less effective, or whatever. This is like a real problem and a very simple solution. Super effective, super cheap, readily available. Nobody wants it.
I mean, I suppose at the end of the day, that's how stupid surfers are.
It is.
Like,
that's exactly how stupid surfers are.
Yeah, is you have a perfect thing. And it's not even like they looked bad. It's not like they were kooky. Like, no. I mean, at the end especially, like, they didn't look condom tipped or whatever, right? It just was like, it's a snug, perfect fit.
I know. So bizarre.
Bring back nose guard, I guess.
I really feel like we should. We've talked about this. There is an opportunity here.
Yep.
Also, even though I'm poo-pooing duct tape on the nose of a surfboard, duct tape is the most useful material on the planet.
Goodness. By far and away.
It's kind of amazing.
Yep. I don't like when people take their, hey, you can use duct tape. You know those people, I mean, they sell them, those duct tape wallets and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Really dumb. I'm like, come on, man. Yes, we know you can use, just because you can use duct tape for everything doesn't mean you should use duct tape for anything.
No, but what an invention.
Yeah.
I'm now realizing they make white duct tape. So I'm wondering if this listener uses white duct tape.
I mean, that would look almost worse than, because it would look like you were trying to camouflage your duct tape.
Well, you wouldn't notice it unless you really looked.
I guess so, but still, if you're gonna duct it up, go silver.
Classic. All the way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry. Thanks for the submission. Sorry for beating it up.
At what point in your life did you realize it was duct tape, not duck tape?
Way sooner than I realized it was housing tract.
Housing track.
Right?
Yeah. Housing track makes sense.
I feel like 85% of adults still don't know that it's housing tract.
Yeah.
Because anytime I hear somebody say that, they say track.
Yeah.
Also, 95% of adults don't know that it's unkempt.
Yep. Unkept.
I always hear people say unkept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, there was the funniest one that I saw today. Might still have the window. Yeah, I still have the window open. So Jamie O'Brien on his podcast yesterday did an interview with Uncle Chemo, who runs security for all these Hawaii events. And at some point in the conversation, Uncle Chemo says, instead of saying blessing in disguise, he said blessing in the skies.
Oh, yes. That's solid. That is solid.
Because pidgin kind of Hawaii vernacular is saying duh instead of the. And so he said blessing in disguise, like meaning the skies. But I think he's heard blessing in disguise, D-I-S-G-U-I-S-E, disguise, as it is meant to be. He's heard that and interpreted as
blessing in the skies.
The skies.
What
a blessing in the skies?
What was the blessing in the skies specifically?
I don't know.
I wonder, was it a hidden, like, did he use it correctly terminology wise, or did he just use it like a blessing?
I just saw it in the comments section, so I didn't actually hear him say it.
Okay, I'm gonna dig this one up. This is good stuff.
It is good stuff. Again, one of these things where it's like you hear, like with unkempt. You can't
Yeah.
ever call anybody out on it, but you're just looking at them like,
Come on.
I'm judging you a little bit now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, final barrel or not, right in this vein actually, is copying and pasting internet phrases that are making their way from gamer culture into our mainstream lingo and now surfer lingo, such as level up, I'm here for it, living rent free in your head, understood the assignment, it's giving blank vibes.
I hate any popular vernacular, like in any case. I loathe it all. Like level up, I'll give like once it settles in long enough and it just becomes a word or a phrase, then I'm fine with it again. But that moment when the people are using it, like are going for a look feel or are too unaware that like you're branding yourself real hard right now. This is like throwing on your Ed Hardy and really claiming it that you are modern Vogue. But what you are claiming is you are 5 months to a year behind the times.
So the listener's submission says, these are plug and play templates. They're not your thoughts.
Yeah.
They're clever the first time and then a parody of themselves the 100th time. Not sure if it's lack of originality or try-hardedness or a far miss in striving to be edgy and current. But for me, these are no barrel.
I've always loathed this across the board.
Well, because you hear somebody, if you're a gamer and you're using it with your gamer buddies in that game, then I understand it. There's a culture.
Context.
Yeah, there's a context and there's a subculture that's taking place, and you're speaking within the subculture. There's its own language. Get that. But anytime you hear it said outside of somebody wearing their gaming headphones, there's a moment where you're like, wait, what? Like, what? Understood what assignment? You know, or living rent free and who's that? Wait, what?
Yeah.
That for it to interrupt the conversation enough for somebody else to have to do the math and figure out what you're talking about is reason not to use it.
I mean, to the writer inner's direct point of clever the first time, like the first time I heard rent free in your head, I probably thought, oh, that's funny enough. Second time you hear it, try hard.
And
like, why are you doing that? There's a better way to say that.
So then you started out by saying once it becomes settled in, then it's kind of like, okay, my point is never accept it. They should never become settled in.
I mean, but there are, of the crop, let's say at this point, every seems like few months, there's a whole new batch, a whole new crop of slang, right? I mean, obviously people talk about it or I read stuff about it, or maybe I read stuff about it because I do have a 13-year-old daughter, but man, their internet slang is just like so crazy. I try to think about how many new words we would employ as kids. And I think, you hear like rad or whatever would come up, right? And then so you'd start saying rad. But it's like for this generation of kids, it's like there's 1,000 rads every second week. All to say, for her and her crew and all that. So of this crop of new words, one or two, I think will find their way into the mainstream enough. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with watering the English language with fresh words every so often, right?
Well, then I want to be the gatekeeper that decides which ones make it through.
Definitely. I mean, and thankfully, I think, what is it? Merriam-Webster's or one of them actually is a gatekeeper for deciding, words of the year and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I don't agree with their gatekeeping policy though. They've let in some terrible ones. I think they let in bootylicious.
I think last year was what? It was shit. The shitification.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, stupid.
Terrible. Don't say that.
And shitification. Sorry.
Yeah, there's two that I can name right now that absolutely still like are nails on a chalkboard for me. One is bet. You ever hear that?
No, how?
Where instead of saying yes, you say bet.
Where do they
Be
use
like,
this?
Dude, 10 years ago, people started using it.
Oh, I've never heard this in the wild, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, man, you want to go out and get drinks tonight? Bet.
Oh, so instead of saying you bet.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. So stupid.
Yeah.
And the other one is it, instead of saying bro, bruh is
yeah.
BRUH.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bruh. I'm like, it's harder to say.
Bruh.
It's like the hardest version of bro to say. Already don't say bro, but bruh is then like, it just sounds stupid and it's hard to say. And it's somehow taken over.
Unless you're South African, leave bruh alone.
No, but that's
that
brew.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's no reason to say bruh.
Brew I kind of like.
I like brew. I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
brew.
I can't use it. I can't use it, but I wish I was South African so I could.
Brew is better than bro, and bruh is the
worst
least of all of them.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Bruh's straight up lazy.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh. I'm like, God dang.
Yeah. Dumb.
You automatically, whoever's using that needs to be like subjugated in society. Like
That
lowest
person-
paying job, all of it.
That person is contributing to the enshittification.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. To the dumbing of the language for sure. Okay, moving on. That is all we got today. Thank you, listeners, for the listener submissions. Much appreciated and loved. I had one other thing I was going to ask. Oh, I know what it was. You want to see the newest development in my old age?
Sure do. A putter. Oh, you got him. How are you feeling? You and I have a very similar frame. Wait, no, yours is black.
No, mine's clear with tortoise on the side. Are yours tortoise on the side?
Nope, just clear. I can't believe over all of our time together, we have not talked about tortoise as a colorway.
No, we haven't.
Huge fan.
Oh, really?
Huge fan of tortoise. Yeah, especially for, I mean, I guess the only time you see it as glasses. But I don't do it all the time when I get glasses. But I feel the tortoiseshell, I mean, I guess I'm closer to Kelly Slater than I thought. I guess I like turtles too. How has your life changed?
I'm having a hard time getting used to these eyeglasses. I didn't say, but eyeglasses for those listening. I'm having a hard time getting used to it.
Okay, so it took me, there's a break-in period, right? They feel weird. They almost make you feel a little bit sick for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather be blurry. But then you'll use them slowly, and your eyes will just, I don't know if they destroy your eyes or if your eyes are being destroyed naturally, but eventually now, if I would rather lose almost anything. I'd rather lose my keys, my wallet. I'd rather lose my cell phone. I'd rather lose almost anything. I have a white sweat panic when I can't find my glasses.
I have two pairs for that reason, so I don't lose them. And they're different styles because I couldn't decide which one I wanted. So I bought two thinking I'd return one, and now I'm keeping two.
Did you? But so you didn't get you didn't go get a prescription?
Yeah. I
Okay,
did.
you did. Good.
Yeah, I did.
Good.
So when Chaz and I had this conversation off air about me needing glasses, I was like, I'm just going to go Costco and get like, whatever. I know it's a minimal prescription needed, so I'll just buy whatever ones make sense, but probably the least prescription and use those. And Chaz goes, no, because they only come in every 0.25 prescription. So you can get 0.25, you can get 0.5, 0.75, whatever. And you may have 0.33. And so you want to get a precise prescription. So I took his advice, went to the optometrist, got the prescription, ordered the glasses. But it is so minor that I barely notice the difference. Like putting them on versus pulling them off and just reading, I'm like, it's minor. I don't really want to wear them. So I'm only really wearing them in low light at night, basically, and fine print.
Don't you worry. Those eyes will degrade quicker than you know what to do with them.
Okay.
You'll be wearing glasses like, I mean, even now, like I've been squinting at this computer the whole time. Could have been clear.
Yeah, could have been. Just don't want to give way.
Nope.
I'm still fighting the fight a little bit, but I do like freaking people out when I put them on because I'm still in that phase. I put them on, people are like, what?
One more question. Did you get progressives or did you just you got progressives? So you can actually see mine aren't progressive. Mine are just straight up readers. So I can't wear them out, thankfully.
Yeah. Mine are progressives, and I only have a prescription in my left eye.
Oh, your right eye's
Right eye's 20/20, or I guess, whatever, perfect vision still. The left eye has a little bit of a prescription.
degradation. I wonder if I feel if you go to the orthodontist, of course, they're going to say you need braces no matter what, right? You could have the most perfect teeth set. I wonder if you go to an optometrist, if they say, yep, you're good, 20/20, or if they can always find, yes, you're 20/20, but we can make it better.
It's a good question. They can't fool me. Like if I had perfect vision, there's nothing they could say that I'd be like, it's fine, there's nothing they could see that make me think I didn't have perfect vision. But the reason this all came up was because I spent 4 months thinking my TV was broken because it was blurry. Literally, like that's how like hard-headed I am. I like could not accept that it was me. I'm just like, and the TV's new too. And I'm just like, this TV, something's wrong with it. I don't like the display on this thing. I'm kind of have to get a new TV now. But then I realized the menu was blurry too, and the back of a bottle was blurry, and I was like, wait a second.
What's going on here?
Maybe it's not Sony's fault.
Well, thank Sony.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all. Oh, final thing. Doppelganger status. Yesterday I got Eric Dane.
I see it with the glasses.
Do you?
See it with the glasses.
I don't see it at all.
I see it like Eric Dane. Would you think? See, these ones are real tough because with your Matthew Perry, for example, Matthew Perry, there was a lot of versions. There was a drugged out skeleton version. There was a drugged out chonky version. With Dane, there is the McSteamy, and there's also ALS.
Yeah, I don't think it was the mixed which also I had the exact same thought as you, which I was like, I only get it after they die. And so is it like, you're talking Matthew Perry today?
Yeah.
Eric Dane today? That's not a compliment.
I totally see it. It's really weird. Those glasses really do Dane you.
Well, got it yesterday, and I'm like, hey, bro, it was a dude. It was a dude. And I'm like, I don't see it at all, but I'm going to tell my wife. And I think that she'll appreciate that.
Were you wearing the glasses when the dude told you?
No, I wasn't.
Weird. Okay, so he saw something that was existing.
Yeah, but he's in the news recently, so I think that might have influenced his opinion a little bit.
Okay.
So I'll let you know if any other Danes come in, but
Great.
I'm embracing it for now.
I would.
Yeah, for now.
Either way, he looked great with ALS too.
Okay.
I mean, he was still handsome.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, listeners, once again. And that's all we got this week. But Monday, we'll be back 2 days from now on Noble Rot. All right.
And Extra Fine Grit.
And on Patreon, Extra Fine Grit. Come over and get it. Until then.
Keep working.